You know what's stupid? You can't put a business like Gmail account or whatever on a family plan for YouTube Premium.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, John Haley.
All right, who we got here? Let me get my bat signal-y thing out. Let me close my Discord because that screws everything up.
Yeah, that's gonna take up all your bandwidth.
I think we're live already.
We are.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. Okay.
We just let people file in and say hi before we get to it. Let's see. Get to my control room here. Shareable link, live studio, the bat signal.
Hi, Tessa. How are you?
Hello, Tessa. All right, the bat signal's out. All right. That's funny. TK421 reporting for duty.
Yeah. Who might that be?
I don't know. All right. Streams look good. The bat signal's out. I've sent it out to my one Facebook friend. And, yeah, I think we are good to go. Close this down. And that. Got all my notes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're ready to do a show. Let me turn down my fan.
Oh, you got a fan?
Or it's an air conditioner, but
Oh.
got a window unit. I had to blast it a little bit. It's getting a little warm in here. All right. Feel like I'm missing something, but I think we're good. Matt, John, Tessa, TK421, Chris. What's up, Chris? All right. Tessa's her new Monday routine. It's nice. You know, you
That's
can
a good
also
routine.
turn on Mograph TV when we're not on the air and rip the knob off. We're on Mograph TV right now. Look at that. All right. I think we're ready to do a show. Got my notes. And here we go. What's up and welcome to another Mograph Mocast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt, and joining us today is the super talented Mr. Robert Hranitzky.
Hello.
And Mograph is a supplement to our site, mograph.com, which is a motion graphics tutorial site with tutorials, plugins, podcasts, and other Mograph stuff. And on the show, we talk about everything ranging from motion graphics to Cinema 4D, After Effects, plugins, render engines, doing business, doing taxes, being a contractor, or working for the man. You can email us info@mograph.com. Let us know what you think about the show. Questions, comments, concerns, queries, grievances, artist suggestions, show topic ideas. We're on mograph.com. We're on youtube.com/mograph if you want to check out everything there. Yeah, send us an email. Let us know what you want to hear about. We got some emails this week, actually. I got some emails about suggested people for the show. Some of them new, some of them people we had on a long time ago. So I appreciate the suggestions because people like Zach Corzine, we should have him back on. I haven't talked to that guy in years now.
I know.
And
It's amazing.
you know, yeah. So we're gonna get on that. We're scheduled through November 7th, I believe, but gonna get some people on for later on. If you noticed, you know, we've changed the artwork in the background there. It's back to the fall stuff. All the fall promos and bumpers are running because, you know, it's fall. Where's my? Speaking of which, break out the cardigans.
Yeah.
Because it's fall. It's
Dude,
cardigan
like
weather.
the weather's been excellent.
Oh gosh, it's
I was
beautiful
actually,
in Texas.
I'm actually surprised. I've got family coming in at the end of October, and normally it's like kind of hot, you know?
Yeah.
So I was expecting to be able to swim, but nope, looks like I'm going to be heating the pool. So
Go to the hot tub, man.
like,
you know.
gotta heat the pool like a rich person, you know?
Oh man.
What do you think? I'm made of money? I haven't had a job in a month and a half.
Hey Dave,
Gustav's
you know
here
you should beatbox that intro part, you know, with all the intro. I mean, this yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Matt will beatbox it, and you will just, you know,
Yeah.
hit the rhymes and.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm hip hop-oponymous. My lyrics are bottomless.
There you go.
Yeah. Also got an email from Ross.
Yeah.
Did you see that email?
Morris. Yeah. That
Yeah.
He's got the internet back.
Yeah, well, his email just said he sent it to in the info at
I know. I
mograph.com
thought
address,
that was really funny.
and he says, "What up, y'all? It's Ross." That's all he said. So he's safe. He was in the hurricane, so he just got internet back. He texted us on the Halo chat, and so yeah. So he's doing well. This week, just a couple things. The week wrap up here. We got fall, of course, which I already mentioned.
Yeah.
So PSLs. I had my PSLs before I started keto again, of course, because you can't have a
course.
PSL. It's Ketober, yo. So I've been working on that. I saw a video or a podcast of me 1 year ago, and I'm like, oh, I need to up the running a little bit, put on a couple of LBs. So back to that and intermittent fasting.
The beard makes you look.
I have been fluffing the beard and letting it grow because I'm going to be Hopper for Halloween. So you'll see that get up on the Halloween show. The whole fam is going to be Stranger Things. And
I'm going to be Team Rocket. Amy and I will be Team Rocket. And Gibson and Cooper will be from Pokemon. Gibson is going to be Ash Ketchum, and Cooper is going to be Pikachu. Or Chichu, as he calls him.
Chichu.
Chichu.
I keep thinking I look a little red, like one of my red lights is on. I think it's just my sunburn.
Yeah, it's just
I'm pretty red. I was showing them my farmer's tan before the show. It's pretty bad. So yeah, PSLs, yoga pants. I like me some yoga pants. And sorry, I was taking a drink. And Mograph classes. Winbush's course is 50% off for October. If you were at Half Res, he made the announcement there on stage. That's his promise. So I got that all taken care of, squared away. There's a promo code. You can find it on our Twitter and social media. Use that promo code, get 50% off. And Mograph TV, make sure you turn it on, rip the knob off. We're going through a little upgrade in Mograph TV over the next week, hopefully. Got some new content and new things we're going to be throwing in there. We got a whole backlog of stuff that's just not in the library yet. And I've just been waiting for a good time to get to that.
Did you ever figure out your Dropbox issues?
Yes and no. I mean, it finished syncing, but everything is still linked to the wrong place. And my ticket that was open, they refunded me my money for the month, but like I don't know if I even really talked about this on the air. Because I have an old account, they changed it to the new way of doing it, but that changes the file paths for literally millions of files for me. And so stuff like Mograph TV is still caught in limbo because all of the station management software and everything I put on, it's all XML and it's all linking to a different directory now. So I don't know how I'm going to rectify that, but yeah, I'm hoping that I can do a lot of like find and replace in the XML files to fix some of this mess. It's going to be a beast. I'm working on that on Wednesday, so I'm going to upgrade. Jags has a lot of new content for it as well. I know I'm working with Winbush. Winbush, we only had some of Winbush's stuff because he didn't have a lot of his master files, and now he does. So we should have a bunch of new Winbush content soon. And also, I haven't had time to play with this yet, but I saw GSG Tactile. I saw their...
Oh, yeah. So I was on the beta for it, and I got to play around with it before everyone else. It's very cool. I did a little animation that I posted on my Instagram. I did an animation a long time ago using EJ's rubber hose bendy limbs plugin. And it was of one of my favorite kids stories called Boy Plus Bot. And I had never textured it, but so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do something with it. I've been working on my demo reel for the past couple weeks and just looking for more stuff to add to it. So I had this, and I was like, this is a perfect opportunity to try out Tactile with it. And so I used the Play-Doh texture and stuff like that, you know, and it added so much to it. It was pretty cool. And then also what was neat is I needed a background, and I didn't want to go through and like create like this big background and stuff, you know. So I what I did was I searched on Midjourney, and I just looked for clay background, you know, whatever. Let me show here, Dave. I'll send you the link.
Yeah.
But you can see it worked out really well. Oh, come on, Instagram. Don't be slow. Here, this is my link. It's that first
I got to
one.
remember how to use Skype. They change it every day,
Right.
so you know, make sure.
So
it's
what's
muted.
cool is like if you the background is just a flat plane with a, you know, an AI generated art thing, and it was pretty cool. I was really happy with the way it turned out, and it lended itself really well to the color scheme and everything. You know, it was the first project I'd ever actually used, you know, an AI art generated thing, and it was so like this is the future of like
It makes it easy.
It really
right?
It does, yeah. I mean, to be able to find that on that exact image or whatever on Getty Images, you're not going to. You know,
or if
you're
you
not
did
going to at
find
all.
something somewhere, it wouldn't be the right copyright. You know,
Right,
you wouldn't be able to
exactly.
use it. Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, and the textures were great. I rendered it out once and then realized all the textures were floating, you know? So that's one thing. It was funny. I noticed that Nick Campbell had had a post on Twitter or something talking about floating textures, you know, and that you can just right click and say lock UV coordinates or something like that. Or maybe it's
or
a
generate
tag.
UV. Generate UV.
No, it's a tag. It's a tag you specifically put on it so that it'll keep the same position if you're using deformers and stuff. I think that's specifically because this. So I had to do that with it. It was a good thing
Right.
that he posted that. I think he was posting that in anticipation of this happening.
Gotcha.
You know.
Gotcha.
So yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's
that's
really
cool.
great stuff. So much more than just the clay as well. There's like woods and, you know, really rough clay stuff. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was
used
insane to see what lengths they went to capture these. I saw this
Yeah.
this picture on Twitter where they had like a cart full of Play-Doh. It's like
Yeah.
they bought the entire Play-Doh boxes in the Play Store, and it was like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, I would love to, you know, maybe we were talking about maybe getting Nick on. It'd be fun to get Nick and Chad on.
Yeah.
You know, whenever we can get them on, maybe December, and just kind of step through it and talk about the process. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it would be.
I really want to do like a
I'm-
daily or something with it just to try it out, you know.
I'm really curious if they're actually like creating the textures in like Substance, or whether it's like an actual physical scan, you know, or a mixture of both.
Probably
You know
a
what I'm
mixture
saying?
of both, knowing Chad, you know.
Yeah.
That Substance thing that he did back at DFW C4D years ago now is still one of my favorite presentations of his, where he talks about his process. And so, yeah, we'll see if we can get him on, you know.
I'll hit them up.
Like I
I'll
want
hit 'em up
to
right now.
play with that. I'll probably have more to say about it after I, you know, get a chance to mess with it. But, you know, I've been working on another
Yeah.
daily for like 2 months. So
Right.
it's almost done. I hit a pretty difficult block with part of it, and I actually used AI to get me through it. Like,
That's cool.
I was like, I don't like how this looks. I'm going to kind of explore this one section of what I'm doing and see if I can get some more ideas. And it really gave me that push I needed, because otherwise I would have just left it as is, and just, it would have been, to me, it would have been mediocre instead of something I'm happy with.
Yeah.
So, but what the other thing is, I had never really looked into, it's called artlist.io. I see ads for it and stuff. It's been around. I know people know about it, but I never really played with it. And I really wanted to do something cool with the soundtrack on this, because I really enjoy making my own soundtracks. And I needed some very specific sound effects, and they had everything I was looking for. And
That's cool.
So I went into Ableton. I found all the sound effects I needed. This thing is only 10 seconds long, but I swear it probably has 40-something audio tracks for this mix.
Wow.
It's insane. And so I'll probably do a TikTok on how I put it together at some point, hopefully, and kind kind of do a breakdown that way. I don't think anybody watches YouTube videos anymore, so
my
unless
kid
you
does, because I won't give him TikTok.
Well, yeah, but if you can explain how you did something, now it has to be within 30 seconds, or nobody's going to watch it, right?
Right. Yeah.
So let's see. I don't have anything else on the list for the week wrap up. So Robert, let's go into you. You've been on the show before, first of all, so we've talked about your background, and how you got where you are, and we talked about what you were working on before. So this will be kind of an update episode. There's a piece, the E11 Star Wars piece that you just put out. It was earlier this year. It was maybe 5 or 6 months ago.
May the 4th. It was. Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah.
Of course.
That's great.
So and that's been going really well. Your subs have gone up significantly. The short has had 1.1 million views now. Congrats on that, because that's fantastic. And you put together this with a combination of stuff that you actually built practically, and green screens and everything else, and then you've got a breakdown video on it. You've got the bonus propaganda video, and so we'll talk about that a bit. You also did a presentation on it, right, at IBC?
Correct.
Oh, rock on.
So I haven't had a chance to watch that yet. I do want to watch that, and there's also an article on Mograph.com under the news section where you can watch that info as well. We rushed to get that together for you because you were presenting like in a couple days, so we got that up there. So there's all sorts of stuff you can check out on the site and on YouTube if you want to see more of this, if you're an audio listener, which most of you are. I don't know if most people realize that, but our audience is 99% audio. So
I will tell you what, looking at this behind the scenes stuff, these are some clean keys, and I can only imagine dealing with like a white stormtrooper suit and having to deal with green screen keying could have gotten difficult.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll just kind of step through and talk about it a little bit. We're obviously not going to play the whole thing. You can go watch that if you're at your desk, but we'll just kind of step through it at first. I mean, you got a planet, you got ships. You're a Redshift person, right?
Now I am a Redshift person.
Okay.
Back when I started this project, it wasn't available for the Mac, and I'm a 90% Mac person. So I do have a PC actually too, but I prefer to use the Mac as my main workhorse, and Redshift wasn't available on the Mac until I think the last year of production. So it's only a couple of shots that are rendered with Redshift.
And what's the rest of it? Is it standard?
What is the rest of it?
So it starts off with the planet intro. So basically when they're flying in space and when they're entering the planet's atmosphere, basically when you can see the ships fly through that landscape, that is actually all After Effects.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. So that is all actually Element 3D.
Oh, nice.
Combined with some footage that is shot in Iceland. So what you see here right now is this Icelandic landscape that had
awesome.
I mean, it looks awesome out of the box from the landscape side of things, but it had a couple of cars and streets and farms and all that stuff in the background that had to be removed. So I used the combination of basically the After Effects tool that is built in, as well as the spot clone tool from a Giant. So basically, it's a combination of different methods to get a clean, alien-looking planet look instead of just having cars drive around in the background and stuff like that.
Iceland is the best place for that.
Yeah,
totally. But still, you have. I was not so far out from civilization. I would say I was not. I was in the Highlands, like barely on the edge of the Highlands. But if you really want to capture stuff where there's really nothing, you have to go a little bit more into the center of Iceland, where there's no tourists and stuff like that. So,
Right.
I found this place where there were some tourists and there were some houses and farms, and so it's a mixture of content-aware fill and spot clone tracker, and then I just used
tracker. I haven't used that before.
It's pretty cool. It's basically as you would expect it in Photoshop, but it just tracks the to be tracked points and lays over.
That's great.
So it's a slightly different methodology compared to the After Effects tool, but if you combine the both, because both have their pros and cons, so I used both in conjunction to get a clean plate, and then basically Element 3D to get the shuttle and the TIE fighters in, a 3D track, and that's it. And the planet is actually Video Copilot's orb.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
So it's an Earth map, but I think it's mirrored and it's twisted, so you can't really. And I think I multiplied the tiling, I think, by 2 or so. So you can't really make out any continents or any countries or so. So it looks like the planet Muchikana, and yeah, that is all After Effects. But then after that, all the background shots where you see a corridor, so all the panels and all that kind of stuff is all Cinema 4D. And
what render engine was that? Redshift?
That was physical.
Wow.
And we can talk a little bit about the challenges that I was facing by using that or having to use that back then.
But it's not really a lot of it's not necessarily moving per se. Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, that was one of the things. I mean, not having a moving camera certainly helps, but still, you have the impression that it's not a still in the background, but actually it is a still. So it's been a combination of different techniques, working smarter, not harder, to get the impression of this being an image sequence or like a rendered movie that is with lockdown camera. But actually, if I mean, do you want to explain it? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
It's a little hack, I would say. So basically, when the pandemic hit, I decided to go from the original idea of doing it in HD to doing it in native 4K, because we filmed it in 4K anyway. But I thought I'm just gonna down convert it to HD, and I can just quickly key it out and make it like a quick and dirty approach. But then the pandemic hit, like I think 3 months after we finished filming, and then we were like, okay, you know what? Let's just go on full 4K. I have some time, and not knowing what's gonna happen next, let's just invest the extra time and do everything like full quality in 4K. And then that also meant that the backgrounds had to be much more detailed and much better in quality and resolution, obviously. So I modeled every nut and bolt. I textured it all with Painter.
Wow.
My friend Can Eduman recommended Painter to me to learn that in order to get those nice little scratches and worn edges. And I mean, it was such a fun learning process to use a new tool to basically make my skill level bigger and grow myself as an artist, but also help the product or the project to be a better result. So essentially, I had like one background, one still, so to say, of let's say when the stormtrooper is talking, you can see the room in the back, and it's one still. And every little light, everything that basically has to be blinking on and off, has an object channel. And so I used that and basically masked that in After Effects and animated all those object channels on and off, and adding some glows to the lights. So one light is going on and off, constantly looping, and this makes it look like it's actually a clip of
right.
And I use the same methodology for example, for the shooting range. So when you see him from the side shooting down the corridor, it's basically 3 frames. Like the first frame is just nothing. The second frame is the illuminated background from him firing the blaster, and the third frame is where the blaster bolt is flying towards the room. So you have a little red light that has been animated with 3 frames, and then it reverts back to I would say the default frame where nothing is on. So every time he shoots, I play these 3 frames, like 1, 2, 3, and then it reverts back to default, and then 1, 2, 3 again. And this way, I could go from, it took between 3 and 4 hours to render 1 frame in 4K with physical in that quality. So I only had to render about 9 hours for 3 frames instead of, I don't know how many hundreds or thousands of hours. So it was basically a compositing job, and then you overlay all the animated lights and the whole same technique that I just explained for every corridor piece. And actually the only difference was when he is clicking on the button to pull up the target to see his results. Basically, it's the same methodology again. So the shooting range corridor is rendered as a still, and the only thing that has been rendered as an image sequence is the target that comes flying towards you. But then I added some action VFX smoke elements and all that kind of stuff in the background, animated some turbulent lights, so it looks like basically this whole thing is a footage element, like it has been filmed or rendered as a sequence. But I had to be very resourceful of how much render time I'm using up, because obviously this was a personal project where I cannot block my machine for weeks, and having commercial projects wait for this project to be finished.
Work smarter, not harder.
It's amazing. Like, I gotta say, and like your color correction on everything, like the way that these backgrounds blend in so well with the foreground and the characters and stuff, it looks so fluid. It looks so good.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and you bought these uniforms, right? Like, you purchased them somewhere, is that right?
Yes, correct. So I bought that Stormtrooper outfit from a company called Anavos in the US back in 2015 or 2016. And they were selling the kits. So basically you have to trim all the arm parts and all the the chest plate and everything. You have to trim it and glue it together, and you can basically make it fit your body, and depending on how much you trim each part, because they come in halves. So all the little stripe that you see on the arms are basically to hide the glue part where the 2 halves are glued together. And this is the way how they could customize, like back in '77, how they could customize the diameter of your arms and of your legs, and also for the size, depending on how much the stomach plate slides under the chest plate, you can customize the size to make it fit your body. And this whole build process was so much fun. But yeah, that Stormtrooper is basically standing next to me here on the left on a maquette, or mannequin it's called, I think. The figure that has the pose.
Yeah.
And what about the props? Like, you have a lot of practical props. You built those, is that right? Or did you purchase them?
No, I've apart from the Stormtrooper and the blaster, everything was custom built from everyday household items. I mean, there's literally anything in there that you can imagine. So for example, if you look at that famous data port, that round thing with that silverish hole in the middle, and these things that go on to the side. So basically the black round part is a diaper canister. So our kids were smaller when I started that. They were still in diapers. Not that one.
Not that one.
It's, if you, I don't know where you can see it from the top shot, you can see it a little bit on the right. On the left it is here right now. That big round part. So that thing basically is a diaper canister. And in the middle it's printed out paper, or I would say thicker paper, not cardboard, but a little bit of like silver paper, folded into shape. Some IKEA leftover parts are put on the top, and in the middle is like an empty toothbrush cap, a toothpaste cap.
Wow.
That is spray painted silver, and that basically sells the idea that it's kind of like a like a technical thing.
Yeah.
As a bottom is a rice bowl lid that is spray painted silver, and literally there's about 5 or 6 toothpaste caps spread across the table here. I was walking
like
around
knobs.
the house like a psychopath, looking at everyday objects like a maniac.
That's awesome.
My family was asking like, what the hell is wrong with you? And I'm like, whenever they were throwing out like those caps from a toothpaste or from the milk, I was like, no, don't throw it away. I can use that. Use it for what? For my film. It looks like Star Wars. And they're like, what are you talking about? This is a cap. So, but if you put like 2 or 3 different caps on top of each other with different sizes.
Yeah,
it looks sci-fi-ish. So it's a real life kit bashing, and the same
whatever
applied
works
for the desk. It's been.
Did you build out a lot of the little buttons, like the red, white, and blue buttons, and the blinking lights and stuff like that?
Yeah, and how did you do the LEDs?
Mm-hmm.
So the white and red buttons are basically Lego, like the flat Lego tiles.
That is so funny.
That's great.
So I didn't steal these from my kids. I went to the Lego store and bought like I'd need like 5 red and 4 blue and 10 white and I don't know. So basically,
awesome.
you can get them like for really really cheap money. So they were glued on. And the LEDs are actually real LEDs. So it was also a little father-son project with my dad. So I explained to him what I want to have, and I bought all these LEDs, and I sent him all that, and he basically did all the wiring and the cabling and the little motherboard that can control the intensity and also the rhythm of the lights and how fast they should blink. So I could have in-camera effects with all that and put it on the desk and make it look nice.
Cool.
Yeah, that's great. Now the gun, tell us about the gun, because I know you did purchase that one, and was it expensive, like the blaster?
I bought it on a website in the UK. It's called Doopy-Doos, and they sell like resin casts from the blaster, and this originally was like a Sterling submachine gun, I think, from World War II, from the British Army.
Oh wow.
That was used by the original prop makers. So they bought, I think, about 30 of those guns, and they just glued stuff on them, similar to what I did with the toothpaste caps. They did that the same way with, windshield wipers. These are the long things that are on the barrel. They put on a Hengstler counter, which definitely does not have any function. They put on a scope that doesn't even would work for that kind of gun.
Yeah.
So it's basically kit bashing this blaster. And what Doopy-Doos is selling is like a resin cast that is this yellowish plastic. It's quite rough, so you have to sand it a little bit, and some of the parts are a little bit rougher. So I bought a real Hengstler counter, and they're like so expensive because they're hard to get, like the square box that you can see. But since you see that close up, I wanted to have like the real deal where you can really make out all the edges and everything is the surface up perfect. But yeah, that's the blaster was actually the part where the idea originated from, because I was building the blaster in 2017, and then I looked at it and I was like, if this was a product, like a real product, and I would unbox it and review it, like how would I unbox a blaster? And then I thought like, hey, how would a stormtrooper unbox this blaster, and how excited he must be about getting this new toy? And then this is how the idea originated, to basically make this fan film.
I see these are toothpaste caps here, right?
Yes.
That is great. Yeah, and you can see the windshield wiper piece. It's so funny, the kit bashing, and you see this a lot in movies and TV. Like when I was growing up, I noticed a lot of this with Star Trek: The Next Generation. They kit bash stuff. Sometimes I would see like storage bins, painted storage bins, and I'm like, I have that storage bin in the garage. And there was one time 10 Forward had these little triangles that were on the tables, right? And I don't understand why, but there was one episode where the triangles were different. I don't know if it was like before they got these other triangles, but the little pyramids, it was literally this game that I had as a kid. It was a pyramid, and there were 3 LEDs on each tip of the triangle, and you would rotate it to get all the lights the same color, and you'd win the game. Literally sitting right there like a futuristic prop.
I mean, also the charging stations for all of the Borg people were just those little electrified, things. We used to sell Spencer gifts all the time.
Yeah, Tesla. What are they?
Yeah, I don't know, like the plasma panels or whatever. It was silly.
That's funny. Yeah, so I'm looking through. I'll bring it up on screen here. So you get a better view here of some of this stuff. So I'm assuming you comped in the screens, and you didn't use like an iPad or something, did you?
The screens are real as well.
Really?
Yeah. So like so basically everything that you see in front of the trooper is always real, and everything that you see behind the trooper is always CG.
Wow.
So the whole desk is real. All the panels, everything was printed on paper and then put on foam board. And basically the frame where we're stopping right now is from washing powder the the edges of the I don't know what you call it, like the box basically.
Yeah. So like a plastic detergent thing.
The plastic detergent thing, exactly.
That's so funny.
That's great.
It's actually two glued together with a little bit of spacing, so they actually fit the iPad beneath it, and it's again spray painted black because it looks like a futuristic frame.
Yeah.
But then there is an iPad on the left and on the right, so all the UI stuff that you see here, I animated and designed this all in After Effects, but also using a couple of universe plugins to make them a little bit 80-ish. So they're pretty messed up in terms of contrast and grain, and they're very distressed, I would say. But they play back as a loop in the background on the iPad, and so that whenever the camera points down, you can have that as a full-on all-in camera effect. And the same goes for the iPad on the right. So two iPads in total.
Was there ever any thought about like doing any 3D printing or anything like that to create some of your props? Because to me, it seems like that would be so much easier than just roaming around my house looking for something that I can paint, like a bit more customizable.
That's a very, very good point. And funny enough, one of the comments on YouTube was like, someone give this guy a 3D printer. He looks like someone who could use that. And to be honest, I thought about it. I don't have a 3D printer. And I certainly had, I don't even know if I had a friend back then that had a 3D printer. But now I do have a couple of friends actually that have a 3D printer. I still don't have one personally. But totally, yes, Matt. I mean, this would have been like a 3D printing heaven to print out. But I spread this across a total of almost 5 years to get it done. So I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm just gonna be creative in terms of what can I repurpose.
Sure.
Like running around, tool shops, looking for screws and screw-on stuff that you would use for your bathroom, and silver shiny things, or filleting ping pong balls to make them look like buttons, and
that's funny,
and all kind of stuff. It was so much fun, and yes, it would have been easier to print, but I just enjoyed the process so much, just to look.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, it looks incredible. And I mean, I couldn't even tell that those were just Lego pieces. I thought you actually went and bought physical buttons, But yeah.
Another kit bashing thing is the when they're powering up the laser on the Death Star and they push the little lever, it's clearly like a Grass Valley switcher,
Right.
Yeah.
and I know the sound effect that he does. It makes like before he fires. But, to be honest, I'm right now, since I've decided like 2 weeks after the premiere of the fan film, I've decided to carry on. Although that was never really the plan from the get-go. It was like always meant to be just like one fan film and then that's it. But like 2 weeks after, I was like, you know what? Why not continue? Because there's certainly more than one idea to create a new episode. And now, as we speak, I have a friend now that I met at a Star Wars convention that is printing stuff for me right now.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a fantastic guy. You can find him on Iron Motion. That's his name. And he's building stormtrooper costumes and 3D printed props. And so whenever I need something now, I'm like, okay, let's fire up C4D, model something and send him over. And he's like, oh yeah, I can print that. And it's just like mind blowing now. It's like completely like anything goes right now. It's quite surreal.
You've seen Sakani Solomon's short, right?
Yeah, of course. The Stormtrooper one, right?
Yeah.
That
could be cool. Collab could be cool. I wonder. That would be interesting to see what y'all could do together. In an episode. Also, we hadn't mentioned the mini lightsaber for the unboxing to open the box.
Love that.
What is that prop there? What'd you make that out of?
That actually is well, okay, I can tell you the German word for it. I don't know what you let me just quickly look for it. It's a Dübel.
Okay.
Hang on. I will give you the word.
Can we talk about that on the air? I don't know.
Something?
Yeah, what is it? Yeah, you got to use that Google Translate.
Dowel.
Oh, a dowel. Okay.
Oh, okay.
A dowel. So it's like a heavy duty dowel basically that you would use for like heavy stuff, obviously.
Okay.
And
gotcha.
I was going into the what you call it, like the tool craft shop where you can buy like tools and nails and wood and whatnot, and I was looking at things that looks like a mini lightsaber because I wanted to be out of metal. I wanted to look somehow cool, not too big but not too small. I was initially thinking of him holding like this Lego mini lightsabers that the puppets have.
Yeah.
But then I thought like holding like this super tiny thing would be just a little bit over the top.
Yeah.
So I settled for this size, which I think is still funny enough.
Yeah, it is.
So it's just holding it up, and then I put in with Saber. I put in the effect of the lightsaber glow. And in fact, I was playing around with what they use for the original films. I think with the 3M reflective coated thing, that you can. So basically, what they had for the first lightsabers in Episode 4 was long sticks with this reflective tape on it. So if you shine light on that, it's the same that you have on your bicycle or on your helmet and stuff like that. It will reflect the light back onto you. And I was testing that, but it didn't really work because the light has to be really, really bright. And this would basically kill the lighting of the trooper because he would be just way too illuminated.
Right. Saber's a good plugin. It's I've used it several times for some spoof videos that I've done.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, like Matt said, you did a really good job with the green spill. You didn't look like you had any super green spill on any of this. Was that? Did you have any trouble? Was it pretty straightforward?
It was straightforward for about 70% of the shots.
Okay.
And the 30% of the shots were quite nightmarish. So in a shot like this, where you can see that, for example, the back of the scout trooper here on the right, it's going a little bit off the screen.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't have a bigger green screen. I was using the Elgato green screen here that was mounted on the wall, so I could just pull it down, and it worked great. But it was just pretty small. I mean, because I was pretty back, far away from the subjects with the camera. I mean, as far as I could go in my little studio.
Sure.
So this was sometimes tricky. So you needed to rotoscope no matter what. And then of course you had some elements on the armor that were in this angle where you will definitely see not just the spill, but like a pure reflection of the green screen, because it was like the exact angle where it would just reflect the light straight into the camera, when it's basically like this very, very flat angle. So some of the parts on his armor had to be rotoscoped, and this was obviously quite a nightmarish thing, but mostly the spill was pretty okay, and I was using Primate.
I was gonna ask,
from VFX Suit, yeah.
Yeah, I've been using that lately,
yeah.
and really getting to understand how to use it, because you kind of have to learn how to use the tools that let you add and subtract, properly.
Exactly,
but once you figure it out, it's pretty spectacular. So.
It is. I mean, it was, and again, this was also something very similar to my experience with Painter, right? Because I do a lot of animation and some occasional VFX work, but it's not like I'm a pure VFX artist that can just key out like no one else. Obviously, it's a. I mean, I've keyed before, but not on this level and not on this scale, quantity as well as quality wise. So again, that was something where I had to sit down and learn, which is something that you can do so wonderfully with a personal project that has a goal, right? Because it's one thing to follow a tutorial and like go, okay, here's from A to Z, you just follow it and then you have the same exact result as the tutorial. But it's a different thing to have a specific goal in mind where you just go like, all right, this is what I need. How do I get there? And yes, I watched a couple of tutorials, but you have to apply what you learned on your own stuff, and then things become much more difficult or different. And this is where the magic happens. This is where the learning happens, because then you have to deviate from what you learned in the tutorial and find out like, oh, hang on, one instance of Primate is not enough. I have to have a second one, and I have to degrain it first, and all those things that I learned on the go are just so valuable to me in my everyday process for commercial projects. So at one point I said that I could basically take all the files and just dump them, basically just delete them, which would be a shame. But at that point, before even finishing the movie, I was like, I learned so much working on this that the quote unquote success or the joy was already given, and it's been already it gave so much to me already at this point before even finishing it, that I was like, yep, worth it. The process was great. I took so much from this, expanded my horizon, expanded my skill set. So yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sure also getting 1.1 million views on a video, it feels pretty good as well.
Yeah. Feels good, bro.
Totally. I'm super hyped and happy about that. But what is even better than the sheer number of views is the actual love and the feedback that I get. That is something that is more valuable than the numbers, because I set out to make this fan film with my friends to prove to myself that yes, I can do this, I can pull it off, I can start it and finish it, but also to genuinely make people laugh, happy, and be inspired, right? So these were the three top goals that I had in my mind. Give people a good time watching this, and hopefully inspire them to do something similar. Not necessarily Star Wars, but to do a personal project, to strive for a goal, to finish university, finish your project, finish, your shit that you're building in your garden, whatever, right?
Right.
So getting these type of feedback like, hey, I had a good time, I was laughing so hard, this inspired me to do this or to that. This is what really makes me genuinely happy to hear that kind of feedback.
That's awesome.
Now, you're obviously using Star Wars IP, and from what I remember, Lucas has been pretty cool about people using that kind of stuff, right? Like, has there been any issue with any of the IP or copyright or anything?
Well, no, no issues so far, at least, knock on wood, and I believe it will stay that way as long as I keep to the rules that are somewhat written / unwritten. So it's a mix. So I did a lot of research. I didn't reach out to Disney in advance. I felt it's easier to ask for forgiveness than for permission. But I was hoping, that things are good, and I was very, very strict on myself on what I can do and what I cannot do. So, for example, so it's basically the general rule is, if you are using the Star Wars IP and stuff from Disney, Star Wars related, it has to be self-created first and foremost. You cannot just basically take a scene from Star Wars and just record it and put it in your own stuff. So that's number one. And I did not do that, obviously, because every pixel comes from our machines here.
Sure.
The second thing is the music. Music is probably the one part where a lot of artists and creators have issues with or stumble with, because they just use John Williams and whatever they find from the original tracks. And this is also something that you cannot do, and Disney is very strict about that. I know that. So my friend Peter, who created the wonderful score for this, created all the soundtrack from scratch, of course inspired by the originals.
Sure. Right.
But composing something that sounds very similar, so you can basically put it into the world. But again, it's like a new composition of tracks, and Peter was like such a fantastic guy to work with. So much fun. Speaking of audio, the same applies, of course, for sound effects. Now, there's some very distinct sound effects for Star Wars, like the blaster sounds, like the pew pew and the TIE fighter and all of that. And so where did I get that from? Well, Lucasfilm themselves, they released something it's called the Creator Sound Effects Pack.
Yeah.
Okay. I think about 4 or 5 years ago, when they were still having their Star Wars Fan Film Awards. So, in fact, they were encouraging people to do fan films as long as they keep to those rules, which I just mentioned, like not ripping stuff from the movies, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff.
I think that's really cool.
Also,
I do, yeah.
Exactly. So you have a sound pack of, I think it's about almost a gig big. I downloaded that because back then I was naively thinking that I will finish my film like within a year or two, so I can submit it to the Fan Film Awards, which unfortunately stopped by now. Yeah. But I still had that sound pack, which I legally downloaded from them, so I thought like, I just used that because my film took a little bit longer to finish, just a couple of years longer. But every sound that you hear, like the TIE Fighter, the blaster, is from that pack, and every sound that you hear that is from Star Wars that is not from that pack is basically self-made. For example, the mouse droid that does this. So it's a kazoo that I was using, and I was distorting the sounds. And a squishy duck that makes this weeping noise. So the Java is me doing like this, and it just play that back with I think 150 speed. Yeah. So I sped it up so it sounds high pitched.
That's funny.
So so as long as you, and of course the biggest rule to wrap it up is do not monetize it on YouTube.
Right.
I was gonna ask about that.
Yeah.
It's a shame, like 1.1 million views. That could have been a fair amount of money. You know?
Yeah, totally. I mean, yes, but I mean, I'm not sad about that, because a lot of people say like, oh man, you've got so many subs and views, you earn some good money. I'm like, no, I'm not earning a single cent of that, because the channel is unmonetized. And in fact, I created a new channel because I do have a YouTube channel that only has about 4,000 subscribers, which I'm extremely proud of. You know, like it's difficult to get to 4K, and that is also not monetized. But I have some commercial stuff running on that channel.
Yeah, so that's a hard thing to do, because like the people that are subscribing to this because they saw this are not necessarily like motion designers. So it's probably a good idea you keep it separate, right? Yeah.
I want to link it a little bit, like mention it here and there, to cross-reference it. but it's still like a separate channel. So I basically started with 0 subscribers on the TK421 channel, 0 views, and it was an extreme risk because when you put it out, no one's gonna see it, and it's unmonetized.
Right.
So that's the biggest rule where Disney watches out for. And in fact, they had to reach out, not me personally, but I was asked by my friend from digital production, who is the chief editor in chief for a German magazine where they have a lot of visual effects and 3D and animation and film stuff. It's a printed as well as a digital magazine, and they asked me to write an article about E11 in that magazine, and it turned out to be like an 18-page article.
Nice.
with the trooper with the mini lightsaber on the cover, full on.
Wow,
that's awesome.
Which is super cool. But for that to go ahead, they had to reach out to Disney and say like, all right, look, we want to have a stormtrooper with a mini lightsaber on a cover of a magazine. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, yeah, it is okay, as long as it's clearly marked as fan film. It's fan-made fiction,
Gotcha.
and it's not coming from Disney or Lucasfilm, which is kind of a compliment in its own way.
Absolutely.
But yeah, they wanted to have some copies of the magazine, and they were just super generous to sign that off. And yeah, so they are aware of it, they like it, and I just have to play fair now and not screw them over, and it goes both ways, I suppose. I hope, at least.
And what about the propaganda film too? Because that's a thing like in itself, and part of it is in there, but you've got the whole film, the whole propaganda film is like a separate YouTube piece. So how did you do all of this?
So that was inspired in parts by one of my other science fiction films that I really admire and like, which is Starship Troopers.
Love Starship Troopers.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to know more?
Yeah. I'm doing my part. Right?
Exactly. Everyone is doing his part. And then so that was kind of like the inspiration to do something like this, because like E11 is in part also a little bit of a like, it criticizes tech generation, our tech generation, tech in general, criticizes YouTube a little bit with all the ads. I mean, I do have YouTube Premium for a reason right now, so
right.
Yeah.
But I thought, why not make fun of it? Like when you watch something and like in the middle of when you want to see something, an ad pops up and you just go like, oh gosh. And then this is how the idea was born, to create an ad, and I knew the ad was supposed to be for something Imperial. And and then I was like looking at, okay, how could I do this? Film it, or how can I be smart about keeping the work on an manageable level versus make it look good. So I reached out to a friend of mine who I did opening titles for his feature film a couple of years ago, and I said to him, Steffen, that's his name, Steffen Hacker. Steffen, you owe me a favor, right? You remember those titles I did for you? He was like, yeah. So can you do me like a 30-second Star Wars commercial? I'll be directing it, and I'll give you the general idea, but you'd have to basically create it and build it. And he was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, cool. So we sat down and brainstormed together a couple of visual ideas. So we basically had this idea of using like those propaganda posters, and you can find a bunch of them like beautifully designed on Pinterest, and that was also one source of our inspiration, and basically came up with this idea of doing like this propaganda thing. If you would be watching this on the Imperial Holonet and you're not signed on as an Imperial soldier or whatever, then you would definitely be signing on after seeing this fun commercial, because they're pretending that everything is so much an adventure, and see new planets and all that kind of stuff. And my friend Jason Levine, who works at Adobe, was kind enough to
Jason Levine. I know him.
Yeah. He did the music for my thesis project back like 16-17 years ago. So we're still friends, and we became like even closer friends with all the shows, and I see him every once in a while, and unfortunately I haven't seen him for a while now since COVID, but I reached out to him and said like, hey, you have this wonderful voice, could you do this voiceover for me for this commercial? And it's gonna be skipped after I think 8 seconds or so, but we're gonna produce it like on like a full 30-second ad, even with a small print in the back at the end when he's speaking really fast and telling all about the risks of what it means to be employed by the Empire.
That's funny.
I wonder.
So basically, yeah.
I wonder if you told Midjourney to do that, to make a Star Wars propaganda poster, what it would do now.
Actually, it is. Midjourney didn't exist back then. But it is in fact a mix of. So basically, Stefan and his colleague Joshua, who did the 3D part, created the 3D Houdini. He rendered out image sequences, and they ran these through several AI tools that basically gave this like a painterly look. And it's not one. I think it's 3 layers of make it painterly overlaid, and also I did some comp in After Effects to make one stronger, one less, and masking out and rotoscoping some of the items to get to that look. So you cannot replicate that look with the click of a button, but there is some AI involved in creating the look. Certainly is, yeah. It would be interesting to see what Midjourney would do today. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I actually did one.
Are you doing
now.
It right now?
Yeah, I did it. If you want to see it, let me scale it up here. This is just the quick one. This isn't the final version, but let me go to this. Yeah, look, it started coming up with some ideas there. It's a good start. It's a good start. I'm telling you, Midjourney has an imagination. I'm telling you.
Yeah, nice. I like this top-down view, like from looking up, and this monumental appearance of it.
Very interesting. That's such a great tool. Such a great tool to have.
Yeah, it is.
But you also have been working since then on some other projects, and you just finished this Wacom Cintiq Pro 27 video, and man, it is beautiful. First of all, what a cool piece of technology to be working on video for.
Yeah.
That's one thing. I mean, I was not even aware of this thing, because it is like all new technology. It's got like this amazing pen, super awesome display, and tell us a bit about this and how you went about doing this whole thing. How many people were working on this, by the way?
So on the Wacom Cintiq Pro 27 trailer, it's been me who was directing it with the idea. Max Iglesias, who was basically lead 3D with me. Simon Fiedler, who was doing the Houdini particle line part. Can Eduman, who created the hand animation. And Peter, who did the music for this part, who I worked with together on E11 as well.
So Chad is a great character animator.
Part of the E11 crew worked on that, and we started with this project right after finishing, actually even before finishing E11. The concept phase started, I think, back in March, April, and we wrapped up E11 end of April and launched it in May. So it was a little bit of overlap, but basically we dived into this project right after wrapping up the short film, and it's been a fun project to work on, especially with these amazing guys, with the line work, and basically for like a little fun fact that you don't really see, but so all the lines that are created like in the first sequence are basically not animated but simulated. So my friend Simon had this idea to take the data that his pen that he was using, the Wacom he was using in Wacom Intos pen, he was drawing along strokes, and basically he took those strokes from Houdini and the data that it created, and fed that data into a particle emitter that was basically creating the lines. So it's So it's not really a drawn line, but it's like a mathematically calculated line that is mixed in with different parameters like tilt and pressure. So it's basically regenerating the lines in 3D, although you don't really see it, but it's like a simulation. It's like a motion capture that is turned into art.
Yeah, I didn't even know you could go in Houdini and pull data like that. I don't even know how you would start doing that.
I don't know either, but he does. So that's why we brought him on board, because I've been working with Wacom for so long now, and they're like really a fantastic client, almost like a partner to work with, because they give you like the product, the prototype, and they're like, all right, these are the new features, and then this is what we would like to see roughly, but all right, come up with a good idea, and how would you imagine this to be shown in an animated trailer? And there's a lot of creative freedom in there, which I really appreciate. It's just wonderful, but also a lot of pressure. And I've been doing them for so long that yes, they have like this signature that they look the way I like them to look, with a lot of depth of field and a certain smoothness to it. But I figured that it's to spice it up a little bit, I wanted to give it a new look and a new touch to it, and that's why I got Simon on board, who was doing those lines, to give it like a fresher look than what we've never done before, actually. So
that's cool.
What other
really good stuff?
What other projects are you working on now? Like, it seems like it's been a pretty heavy year. Are you, are you going to do anything else? Are you working on more client projects now, or are you taking a break?
Man, I'm quite exhausted actually right now, because and I've been working on 2 more projects. One for FC Bayern Munich basketball. They had a new logo, so I animated the logo in 3D, which was also, as a huge basketball fan, which is it's an absolute pleasure project to work on. But honestly, I've wrapped up a lot of commercial projects in the last 2 weeks now, so I'm just wrapping up one last thing this week, preparing for a talk that I will be giving in Italy, in Torino, on next week for a View conference.
Cool.
So this is quite cool, because all the island folks are going to be there, and I'm just going to invite them to the talk, like, hey, you want to see a mini lightsaber? And let's see how they will react. So I have to prepare for that. But in fact, I'm going back to working a little bit on a personal project, which is again a sequel to E11. So it's going to be a couple of new episodes coming out in the near future. Writing scripts, brainstorming, building props already for that. So that's
collecting toothpaste stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I still have a couple left, but yeah, going back at it and expanding also the creative team a little bit, so it's not just me who's doing the post-production, but also get more people involved to basically distribute the weight a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I suggest everybody go watch your presentation as well from IBC. How was IBC? Like I've never been to IBC. Does it have the same feel as like, I don't know. Have you been to some of the American events? I've been to
NAB and SIGGRAPH.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does it have kind of the same feel over there as well? Like, is it the same vibe?
It's quite similar to NAB, I must say. So of course more European, obviously, but still very international. And it was certainly quieter than the years before. I don't know the numbers, but I think it was 30% less.
Yeah.
Audience, less guests, fewer guests than 2019, which was the last time I believe. And to be honest, it was fantastic to be there. I've been doing so many online demos and shows, and as much as I enjoy it, as much as I enjoy talking to you guys, looking at this black lens in front of me at the camera, it's okay,
different.
but I would much more prefer to sit in your studio at either Dave or Matt's, to be at your place, chat, have a drink after that, or before that, or during that.
Or during, totally.
Really feel the vibes. and that's I really felt that that's the difference, that the audience reaction that you get, people laughing, people wondering, raising their hands, asking something, yelling something, applauding, nodding. That pumps you up while you're doing the demo. You get a totally different energy and presentation out of that if you see people react to what you said and what you're showing. And also all the conversations before and after that, having lunch and dinner with the people that you know and that you have never seen before, but maybe only admired online, and all of a sudden, those people are there, and then you can talk to them. So I've met a bunch of fantastic artists that were also presenting, and it was just I was just so humbled to be among these fantastic artists to speak there, and it was really, really enjoyable to be at IBC.
Yeah, it's like awesome. What we say anytime we see a list of presenters, and there's people we don't know. It's like, oh, look, there's our new friends.
Yep. That's who's going to be on the podcast in a few months.
Right. It's like so fun.
I had serious FOMO when I was reading all about Camp Mograph and. I wanted to go so badly this year. But it's always in our summer vacation, so we're always traveling with the kids. So it's always a little bit tricky, and I think I'm not sure what the dates are for next time, but we might have booked our holiday already. But I'm so crazy about going to Camp Mograph one day.
What month? What month did you book your holiday for?
I think we're gone end of August all the way through the first week of September. I think September 4 or 5.
I think you might be okay.
I think you might be all right.
We'll see. We'll be all right.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we're locking in some details for that. So hopefully, maybe by the end of the year we can talk about something with camp. I don't know.
We need to do a European Camp Mograph.
Oh man, we sure.
Oh,
do.
That would be. Actually, I was talking to my friend in Iceland when we were doing the, looking at those locations.
So bad. Yeah.
And he gave me the idea, like, hey, I always wanted to do a creative show in Iceland because it's pretty much in the middle between the U.S.
And Europe. Yeah.
So everyone flies like 4 or 5 hours, and then you don't have to go all the way, and plus you have this insanely beautiful scenery.
Oh yeah.
Depending on the timing, I'm not sure you can sit so easily outside cozily, but
in June, it will be nice. Yeah, and we're talking about
when
going.
When did we go? We went in August.
We went in September.
Was it September?
I believe
it was
September.
Very cold at night.
It was fine during the day.
It wasn't too bad during the day.
But when I went in June, it was beautiful. It was like the weather we're having here. At least the weather we're having at night here, So we're talking about going back if we can get it together and do like maybe an unofficial like Mographer, just everybody. We'll figure out like where we're gonna do it, what we're gonna do, and everybody just kind of get there. But we've talked to quite a few people who sound interested in going to Iceland next June. So maybe we'll do it.
June is a good month, I think, for that. I was there in May and in October, and both was pretty cold.
Yeah, June is like 24/7 daylight, and I love that. And because you get it's not like noon daylight. You know what I mean? Right. So what's great is you get the magic hour a lot. So the photos are incredible. So that would be fun to do. So
constant magic hour. I mean, this whole place is just magic. So
it is.
I know it is incredible. I'm gonna live there someday.
One
so
day.
I'm gonna retire. Yeah. So cool. You've been on before, so we don't really need to do the recommends segment, but anything else you're working on coming up, or is that it? You got to keep everything else secret, right?
Well, I'm not going to spoil what the next review is going to be about, but some more TK421 stuff is in the works, which I'm super excited. Also, there's a feature-length making-of film in production about E11 because I was documenting the whole process.
Oh, that's awesome!
Like all the breakdowns, but also during the shoot and how the setup was, and also how we created the lights, like the real lights, to get the reflections on the suit that matches the CG environments. All that will be seen and discussed in that in that film, and my friend Michael is editing that. So we're close to finishing it, but obviously this has to go after family, after commercial projects.
Of course.
So it's a little bit tricky time-wise, but we're getting there. Hope to release it before the end of the year, and this will hopefully get also some people hyped about learning new tools, going about their own personal projects, or just seeing the process on what we have used for this fan film. But other than that, I'm taking it a bit easier now towards the end of the year, and I'm looking forward to what is in for next year. So let's see.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Now I'm sure everybody.
Well, congratulations on the success of this video. It's so good, incredibly well done.
Thank you so much, Matt.
I'm sure everybody can find it online, by just Googling it, since it has so many hits. But if people want to find you online, where can they find you?
Well, easiest for E11 is e-11.net. So it has its own webpage. And if they want to reach out to me, they can do that on Instagram. My handle is HRanimator. So HRANIMATOR. Or on my website, which is Hranitzky.com. And so those are the resources where they can find me and hit me up with any questions or anything they would like to know.
I like this photo right here. Friends don't let friends use Comic Sans.
Exactly.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. Well, I think that about wraps it up. We're gonna get out of here. Next week, don't forget that the presentations from Maxon will be going on. Matt and Pickle Nick will be there running things. And what's the weather like going to be in New York? Is it starting to get fallish?
I have no idea.
Nice weather.
Bring myself a hoodie just in case.
Camp
Staying
Mograph
at the
hoodie.
Pineapple Hotel.
Oh, and next week, since you're going to be you're not going to be live next Monday, but you're going to be there just starting to put stuff together, which I need to ship out tomorrow.
Jeez.
All the things.
High of like mid-50s.
Oh, cool.
Oh, showers on Tuesday. That'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, you'll be inside working,
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
You won't see daylight.
Yeah, right.
And so next week we will have a show. Mark will be on the show, and it'll just be the two of us, but we'll dive into some of his work because he's always on, to talk about camp, and we never really talk about like his actual work. So we're going to do that next week. Maybe we can get Matt to Skype in live from the showroom floor. That would be fun.
Monday. Yeah.
Monday.
From
It'll
my
be
phone. That should be fine.
Yeah.
No one will be there.
Yeah, we'll be putting stuff together, looking for the boxes I sent you,
Right, the Jags box.
The Jags box.
I don't know if I will be, because my flight's pretty early. I may be still traveling to the Javits Center at that time.
But it'll be like 1 o'clock. You might be there by 1.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
All right.
Or if we're still on, we'll try and pipe you in,
Cool.
Yeah, so everybody come say hi next week. Make sure you turn on that Mograph TV and rip the knob off. And
if you're in the Discord or Slack, pay attention to like the New York City channel. I may be in there being like, hey, let's meet up somewhere, because I always love meeting up with other motion designers while I'm there.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if Maxon's doing anything
something together.
Yeah.
Real life meetups. How good can it be?
Yeah, totally. Look at the Silver Wing.
What's up?
What's up? Actually, I think you're one of the people that was on that list of guests the other day, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, we need to talk to you again soon. But rate us on iTunes, leave a review, subscribe on your podcatcher of choice, help get our ratings up, subscribe to our newsletter. Hasn't gone out in a while, but it will at some point again, whenever we feel like it. Whenever we feel like it. God. You can say you've been there, done that, got the t-shirt with the Mograph logo tee, the Paul Babb Feel the Bab 2020 shirt. All the profits from that go to Doctors Without Borders. Render Things t-shirt, hoodie, and long sleeve tee, the Mograph blandishment shirt, and of course the That Render is Fire shirt, which you're only allowed to wear ironically unless you're shams.
Yeah.
And we're on YouTube, mograph.com. That's And Mograph.com/live will show you what's coming up in the past episodes. Same thing with our YouTube. Make sure you subscribe so you can get the live alerts and, of course, watch Mograph TV all the time. So, again, Robert, thank you so much for taking the time, hanging out with us. And we're going to get out of here. So until next time, I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt.
And I'm Robert. And thank you so much for having me.
Have a good one.
Later, yo.
All right, stand by.